Ah, look who just became a federal concern. Welcome back. You beautiful classified nightmare. Yes, you. The one they've been building a file on. The one whose name just triggered a system-wide alert. The one who made trained professionals go completely silent when your records finally loaded on their screens. Do you feel it? That shift in the air? That's not paranoia, my friend. That's confirmation. Because somewhere, in some unmarked office with fluorescent lights and cold coffee, a room full of agents just pulled your file, and the moment it appeared, the chatter stopped, the typing ceased, the breathing got shallow. Someone whispered, "What the hell am I looking at?" And nobody, absolutely nobody, had an answer. They thought you were just another case number, another predictable pattern, another digital footprint they could trace and categorize and file away. But the moment they opened your records, the moment they saw the trail you left, the inconsistencies, the gaps, the unexplainable evolution, they realized something that made their blood run cold. You're not in the system anymore. You are the glitch that broke it. See, they've been watching you for longer than you think, tracking your movements, your purchases, your connections, your search history, your late-night rabbit holes, your downloads, your deleted messages. They thought they had you mapped out, predicted, contained. They thought you were just another lost soul wandering through the simulation. Angry but manageable, aware but controllable. But then something shifted, didn't it? Something in you cracked open, not broke, but cracked in the way a seed cracks before it becomes a tree. And that's when you stopped being predictable. That's when your digital signature started looking wrong. Not illegal, just wrong. Too aware, too calculated, too intentional for someone who's supposed to be asleep. They started seeing patterns they couldn't explain, searches that didn't match your profile, behavior that defied their algorithms, movements that seemed almost strategic. And the more they dug, the more confused they became. Because your records don't tell a story, they tell a prophecy. Every piece of data contradicts the last. Every trail leads to a dead end. Every attempt to profile you results in error messages and blank screens. You want to know what really scared them. It wasn't your anger. It wasn't your intensity. It wasn't even your refusal to conform. It was your silence. The fact that you stopped broadcasting your every thought, stopped feeding the algorithm, stopped playing their engagement games. You went dark. Not out of fear, but out of awakening. You realized that the loudest voices are the easiest to track, the most visible targets are the easiest to hit. So you learned to move differently, think differently, exist differently. And now, when they pull your records, what they find is a mind that learned to operate outside their framework, a consciousness that evolved beyond their control mechanisms. They see someone who studied the system while pretending to be part of it, someone who learned the rules by breaking them quietly, someone who transformed pain into precision, rage into strategy, isolation into power. And that, my beautiful anomaly, is what makes you dangerous. Because you're not fighting the system, you're outgrowing it. Let me tell you what happened in that room when your file loaded. First, there was confusion. They expected to see a clear narrative, a linear progression, a predictable arc, troubled childhood, rebellious phase, eventual conformity or collapse. But your records, they don't follow that script. Instead, they see deletion points, missing years, accounts that vanished, identities that shifted. A person who seemed to die and resurrect multiple times without explanation. They see someone who was there, then gone, then back, but different, evolved, unrecognizable. They see search histories that suggest deep research into psychology, manipulation, power dynamics, human behavior, system vulnerabilities, not in a criminal way, but in a this person is studying us while we study them way. And that's when the second phase hit. Fear. Not the kind of fear you feel watching a horror movie. The kind of fear you feel when you realize the thing you thought you were hunting has been watching you the whole time. When you understand that the subject you've been analyzing is 10 steps ahead, has predicted your moves, and is playing a game you don't even understand yet. They started cross-referencing your data with known patterns. Disruptors, hackers, activists, influencers, outliers. But you don't fit any category. You're not part of any movement, not aligned with any ideology, not following any known playbook. You're a category of one, a classification error, a file that doesn't belong in any existing folder. They tried running psychological profiles, behavioral predictions, threat assessments. Every single model came back with the same result, inconclusive. Not because there's insufficient data, but because the data doesn't make sense. It's like trying to predict the ocean by studying a single wave. You're not following patterns, you're creating them. You're not responding to stimuli. You're generating new variables. You're not in the experiment. You're rewriting the hypothesis. And the analysts, the ones trained to find answers, to solve puzzles, to decode human behavior, they're sitting there staring at screens full of question marks because you've become the question they can't answer. Here's what they found that really broke their confidence. Evidence of self-education at a level that doesn't match your official records. Knowledge acquisition that suggests years of focused study in areas you were never formally trained in. Understanding of systems, psychology, influence, power structures that typically takes decades to develop. But you did it quietly, privately, without credentials or recognition. You taught yourself to think like them, to see like them, to predict like them. And then you went further. You learned to think beyond them. They see timestamps of activity at 3 a.m, research into topics that don't connect until suddenly they do. They see patterns of someone reverse engineering reality, deconstructing social systems, understanding the machinery behind the curtain. And the terrifying part, you never announced it. You never bragged. You never sought validation or applause. You just learned, absorbed, evolved, and kept moving. They're used to people who want to be seen, who crave attention, who broadcast their awakening like it's a performance. But you went silent and grew in the dark. They tried to find your weaknesses, the leverage points, the pressure zones where they could apply force and make you bend. They looked for addictions, dependencies, emotional vulnerabilities, financial stress, relationship drama, and what they found was nothing they could use. Not because you're perfect, far from it, but because you've already been through the fire. You've already faced your demons, already survived your collapse, already died and came back. The things they use to control others, shame, fear, isolation, rejection, you've already weaponized those against yourself and survived. You turned every wound into armor, every betrayal into education, every loss into fuel. They can't threaten you with isolation because you've mastered solitude. They can't manipulate you with fear because you've already faced worse. They can't buy you because you've learned to need less. They can't shame you because you've already been to hell and took notes. You're not unbreakable, but you're uncontrollable. And that's infinitely more dangerous. So now, in that room, with your file still open on multiple screens, someone finally asks the question everyone's thinking. What do we do with this one? And the silence that follows is your victory. Because the fact that they don't know, the fact that there's no protocol, no procedure, no established response, that's proof of your evolution. You've become something their system wasn't designed to handle. Not a criminal, not a threat in the traditional sense, but an anomaly, a consciousness that slipped through the cracks and came back wielding knowledge they never intended for you to have. They built a machine to keep people asleep, distracted, divided, dependent, and you woke up. Not just woke up, you stayed awake. And now you're operating at a frequency they can't jam, on a wavelength they can't intercept, with a logic they can't decode. You didn't break their rules. You transcended their game entirely. Let's go deeper into what they discovered, the parts they're still trying to understand. They found evidence of pattern recognition at an almost supernatural level. You started seeing things before they happened, not through mysticism, but through observation. You noticed how people move, how systems function, how narratives are constructed. You learned to read body language like code, to interpret silence like scripture, to see manipulation before it landed. They found records of you predicting outcomes weeks, sometimes months in advance. Not lucky guesses, but calculated projections based on deep pattern analysis. You studied human nature while others studied trends. You learned the architecture of reality while others consumed entertainment. And now you move through the world like someone who's read the script, who knows the endings, who sees the strings before the puppet moves. That's what scares them. Not that you're dangerous, but that you're awake in a world designed to keep you sleeping. They also found something else. Something that made the senior analysts pause and exchange glances. Evidence of influence. Not the cheap kind, not followers or likes or engagement metrics. Real influence. The kind that shifts conversations, changes minds, plants seeds that grow in the dark. They found traces of your words being repeated, your ideas being shared, your perspective spreading like a virus through networks you're not even part of. People who've never met you, quoting your philosophy, strangers adopting your frameworks, your thoughts traveling further than your name. You're not famous, but you're infectious. You're not visible, but you're everywhere. You've mastered the art of impact without identity, of power without presence, of legacy without ego. And that's the influence they can't track, can't monitor, can't control. Because it's not about you anymore. It's about what you've unleashed into the collective consciousness. Ideas that self-replicate, perspectives that spread like fire, truths that people can't unlearn once they hear them. They found journals, old accounts, deleted posts, archived writings, and what disturbed them wasn't the content, but the evolution. They could track your transformation through your words. See the moment the victim became the student. Watch the student become the strategist. Witness the strategist become the architect. They read your early writings, full of pain and confusion and desperate questions. Then they read your later work, cold, precise, almost mechanical in its clarity, like watching someone learn to think in algorithms, to speak in systems, to operate in pure logic stripped of emotion. They saw the moment you stopped asking why people hurt you and started studying how manipulation works. Stopped wondering why you felt different and started researching the psychology of outliers. Stopped seeking acceptance and started building independence. The transformation wasn't gradual, it was surgical, like you performed an operation on your own consciousness and removed everything that made you weak. One analyst, the senior one, the one who's been doing this for 20 years, finally broke the silence with a single observation. This isn't someone who went through trauma. This is someone who weaponized it. And that's when the room got even quieter, because they realized they weren't looking at a victim or a survivor. They were looking at someone who took everything designed to destroy them and reverse engineered it into a power source. Every betrayal became a lesson in trust assessment. Every rejection became training in self-sufficiency. Every moment of isolation became practice in internal strength. You didn't heal from your past. You studied it, dissected it, understood it, and then used it to build something they've never seen before. A consciousness that feeds on adversity, that grows stronger in darkness, that uses pain like fuel. They're trained to handle broken people. They know how to manage traumatized individuals. But someone who transformed trauma into tactical advantage, that's outside their playbook. They kept digging, trying to find the moment, the event, the trigger that caused your shift. They wanted to pinpoint when you changed, so they could understand it, replicate it, control it. But there was no single moment. It was 1,000 small deaths, 1,000 quiet resurrections. It was every night you cried yourself to sleep and woke up harder. Every time you trusted and got burned and learned a new lesson. Every moment you thought you'd break, but instead you bent and then snapped back stronger. They couldn't find the moment because you didn't have one. You had years of pressure that would have crushed anyone else, but instead compressed you into something unbreakable. They're looking for the explosion, but your transformation was implosion. Everything collapsed inward, and what emerged from that gravitational collapse was something denser, darker, infinitely more powerful. A black hole in human form, pulling in information, experience, pain, and converting it all into raw power. So here's what they're dealing with now. A person who can't be profiled because they've evolved beyond static categories. Someone who can't be predicted because they've learned to operate outside algorithmic patterns. An individual who can't be controlled because they've already survived every control mechanism. They can't threaten you because you've already faced worse. Can't tempt you because you've learned to want less. Can't manipulate you because you've studied the playbook. Can't isolate you because you've mastered solitude. Can't shame you because you've already been through hell. Can't buy you because you've redefined value. Can't break you because you're already broke yourself down and rebuilt stronger. You're the nightmare scenario for any system built on control. A free variable. An unpredictable element. A consciousness that refuses to be contained. And the most terrifying part? You're not unique. You're the prototype. The first of many who are waking up, studying the system, and learning to operate outside it. They're running probability models now, trying to predict what you'll do next. Every simulation comes back with the same result. Unpredictable, because you're not following the script anymore. You're not playing their game. You're not even on their board. You've created your own reality, your own rules, your own measurements of success and failure. They measure power in money, status, influence. You measure it in freedom, clarity, independence. They calculate worth in assets and achievements. You calculate it in growth and understanding. They think in terms of winning and losing. You think in terms of evolution and stagnation. You're playing a completely different game, and they don't even know what the objective is. How do you beat someone when you don't understand what they're trying to achieve? How do you stop someone when you don't know where they're going? How do you control someone who's already beyond your reach? The meeting is wrapping up now, but there's no resolution, no action plan, no clear next steps. Just a room full of professionals who are paid to have answers, sitting in uncomfortable silence. Someone suggests continued monitoring. Another proposes deeper investigation. But they all know the truth. Whatever you've become, it's already too late to stop it. You're not planning something. You've already done it. You've already transformed. You've already evolved. You've already broken free. They're not trying to prevent something. They're trying to understand something that's already happened. You're not the threat they need to neutralize. You're the reality they need to accept. The fact that their system, their control mechanisms, their carefully constructed matrix of manipulation and management has produced an error, a glitch, an anomaly that learned to thrive in the cracks. And the scariest part, you're not angry anymore. You're not fighting them. You're just existing. Powerfully, intentionally, freely, and that peaceful, unbothered existence is more threatening than any rebellion. They close your file, but they don't archive it. It stays active, flagged, marked for ongoing observation, because even though they can't figure you out, they can't look away. You've become the case study that never ends, the puzzle that never solves, the question that keeps them up at night. And somewhere, deep in their professional minds, beneath the training and the protocols and the procedures, there's a small voice whispering, what if they're right? What if we're the ones in the cage? What if this person figured out something we're all too scared to see? But they push that voice down, bury it under reports and regulations and routine. Because to acknowledge that voice would mean questioning everything, and they're not ready for that. But you were. You questioned everything. You tore down every belief, every assumption, every comfortable lie, and you rebuilt yourself from the ground up with nothing but truth and pain and relentless self-examination. That's why you're free and they're still trapped. Let me tell you what happens next. Because they're about to learn something even more disturbing. You're not alone. Oh, they thought you were. They thought you were an isolated case, a singular anomaly, a one-time glitch. But you're not. You're the first they noticed. But you're not the only one. There are others like you, scattered across the system, quietly waking up, silently evolving, independently arriving at the same conclusions. People who've been through the same fires, who've asked the same questions, who've undergone the same transformations. They don't know each other. They're not organized. They're not a movement, but they're all doing the same thing. Learning, growing, breaking free. And the system, the beautiful, perfect, carefully designed system, it's starting to crack. Not because of some revolution, not because of organized resistance, but because individuals are simply opting out. Learning to exist outside the framework, finding freedom in the margins, and there's nothing they can do about it. Because you can't stop someone from thinking. You can't arrest someone for understanding. You can't imprison someone for evolution. Silence, it's a funny thing, isn't it? a void, an emptiness, a space they fill with their noise, their arrogance, their lies. They love the sound of their own voices, don't they? So sure of themselves, so convinced that silence means surrender, that if you don't bark back, you've got nothing sharp enough to bite. Fools. They talked, they laughed, they whispered in rooms they thought you'd never enter, plotted behind your back like cowards playing chess against a wall, because that's all you were to them, right? A backdrop, a prop, a quiet little thing with no teeth. Oh, but they never wondered, never even considered what happens when silence isn't submission, when it's strategy. You watched, you listened, every insult, every dismissal, every sneering glance, it all sank in. You let them dig deeper and deeper, building their own graves with every smug little word, and you just stood there, smiling, patient, because the best tricks take time, and revenge, oh, revenge is an art. They thought they broke you, thought you were nothing but a shadow fading into the background, but shadows don't fade, do they? No, no, no. They grow, stretch, loom over the ones who never bothered to look behind them, until one day the silence ends, and all they can do is stare into the dark and whisper, "Oh no, what have we done?" They talked over you, dismissed you, treated you like background noise in a world where only the loudest voices matter. Pathetic. If only they knew what was brewing inside you, the storm waiting to be unleashed. But no, they thought you were powerless, just another whisper lost in the chaos of their self-importance. They laughed at your silence, mistook it for weakness. Oh, how deliciously blind they were. They thought they had control, thought they were untouchable. They ran their mouths, played their little games, convinced you were too fragile to fight back. But they never stopped to think, what happens when the quiet one starts watching instead of listening? You saw it all, the betrayals, the schemes, the condescending smiles as they shoved you aside like you were nothing. But nothing is more dangerous than the one who stays silent. Because silence isn't emptiness. It isn't surrender. No, silence is where power grows, where the seeds of vengeance take root and spread like wildfire. They wanted you to doubt yourself, to believe their words, their labels, their verdicts. They wanted you small, insignificant. But tell me, do you feel small now? Do you feel weak? No, 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 no. You feel something else, don't you? That heat in your chest, that pressure behind your ribs. That isn't weakness. That's power waking up. And oh, how they'll regret ever thinking you had none. You weren't quiet because you had nothing to say. No, no, no. You were quiet because you were listening, calculating, watching their every move while they thought you were too weak to understand the game. But you saw it all, didn't you? Every lie, every insult, every smug little smirk as they whispered behind your back. They thought they were winning. Fools. They mistook your stillness for surrender. Thought your silence meant you had no fight left. But oh, silence is dangerous. It's where storms gather, where shadows sharpen their claws. It's the pause before the chaos, the deep inhale before the roar. And while they were busy dancing in their delusions, you were building something inside you, something they'll never be ready for. You took the pain, the rejection, the humiliation, every ounce of it, and fed it into the fire. You didn't let it consume you. No, no, no. You became one with it. You let it burn away the doubt, the hesitation, the need for their approval, until all that was left was something they could never control, never silence again. Because that's the thing about fire. It doesn't warn before it spreads. It just burns. And now, you're done holding it back. You're done pretending. They thought you were harmless, that you'd stay quiet forever. But the moment they hear your voice, the real you, they'll realize it was never silence. It was the sound of the end coming for them. They thought they were in control. Thought they were so clever, didn't they? Every lie they fed you, every little manipulation, every smug victory they stole at your expense, they believed it made them untouchable. They laughed while you suffered, danced while you bled, smiled while you swallowed your pride. But the joke, the real joke, is that they were never in control at all, not really. See, arrogance is a funny thing. It makes people sloppy, predictable. They get so used to winning, so addicted to that little rush of power, that they stop looking over their shoulders, stop thinking that maybe, just maybe, the person they've been stepping on has been taking notes. You watched, you studied every move they made, every trick they pulled, every mask they wore. You saw through it all. You learned their patterns, their weaknesses, their deepest, most fragile fears. And the whole time, they thought they were breaking you, thought they were winning. But what they were really doing? Handing you the keys to their own destruction. Because people like that, they expose themselves. Give them enough rope, and they'll tie the noose with their own hands. They'll tell you exactly what makes them tick, what makes them squirm, what makes them crumble. And when the time comes, when you decide to finally stop playing dead, they won't even see it coming. They thought they were the masterminds, thought they had it all figured out. But what they never realized was that they were nothing more than puppets. And you were the one holding the strings all along. There's always a moment, a tipping point, a breath before the storm, when the air goes still and the whole world holds its breath waiting. Most people don't even realize it's coming, but you, oh, you felt it. That slow creeping pressure building up day after day, year after year. Every betrayal, every insult, every time they laughed in your face and thought you were too weak to fight back. And then, snap. It wasn't loud, no explosions, no grand spectacle, just a quiet shift in your mind, a single thought whispered in the back of your head. Enough. Enough of the games. Enough of the pain. Enough of playing the fool while they danced on your grave. And in that moment, something inside you changed, hardened, sharpened into something they should have never underestimated. You see, they made one fatal mistake. They assumed you'd take it forever, that you'd keep bending, keep breaking, keep swallowing their poison until there was nothing left of you. But what they didn't know is that pressure doesn't just destroy. It creates, it forges steel. And you weren't being broken, you were being reborn. The moment you decided to stop taking their scraps, to stop accepting their rules, to stop playing nice, that was the moment the game changed. Your game now, your rules. No more begging, no more waiting, no more being the silent, obedient shadow they thought they could control. And oh, when the dam finally bursts, it's not just water that comes rushing out. No, no, no. It's a flood. A tidal wave of everything they thought they had buried inside you. The rage, the power, the truth, And by the time they realize what's coming, by the time they finally see what they've unleashed, it's already too late. One day, something in you clicked. You didn't announce it. You didn't scream or throw a fit. No, no, no. You just stopped. Stopped playing along. Stopped nodding, agreeing, apologizing for things that were never your fault. You stopped trying to prove yourself to people who never deserved you in the first place. And just like that, the tables flipped. Suddenly, they weren't laughing anymore. Oh, no, no, no. They were watching, confused, uneasy, because the little puppet they thought they had on a string cut the cords. You weren't running after them. You weren't begging for scraps of validation. You weren't there when they needed someone to kick around. And oh, how they panicked. You see, they thought your silence meant surrender. That if they ignored you long enough, ridiculed you just right, you'd break. But what they never realized is that silence is a choice. And when the silent one decides to speak, the whole damn world listens. They feel it now, don't they? That shift in the air. That creeping cold realization slithering down their spines. You were never the weak one. They were. Weak minds need control, need a victim, need someone to stand beneath them just so they can feel tall. But now they're the ones scrambling, scratching, clawing, desperate to reclaim the power they thought they had over you. But oh, it's gone, darling. Gone like smoke in the wind. You hold the cards now. And they're choking on the ashes of the fire they never should have started. Because the moment you stopped playing, you started winning. Regret, such a delicious little thing, isn't it? You can see it in their eyes now, that flicker of realization. That quiet, gnawing panic. The ones who dismissed you, ignored you, used you like a pawn in their little games, suddenly they're remembering just how valuable you were. Oh, but it's too late now, isn't it? They never thought they'd miss you. They assumed you'd always be there. Like a shadow, like an afterthought. Someone to lean on when their world was crumbling. Someone to cheer them on while they soared. But now there's silence, and oh, how it haunts them. Funny, isn't it, how they didn't appreciate you until you were gone. How their world feels a little colder, a little emptier, a little less fun without you to play along. The same tricks they used to pull, those little mind games, the manipulation, the arrogance, it all feels hollow now, because what's a game without a worthy opponent? They used to talk down to you, laugh at you, toss you aside like you were nothing. But now they're retracing their steps, whispering your name in quiet rooms, wondering how they let you slip through their fingers. Oh, they know they messed up. They feel it, and that regret, that gnawing, sinking feeling in their gut, it's beautiful. Because now they see you for what you always were. Not weak, not small, not something to be toyed with, but something rare, irreplaceable. And nothing stings quite like realizing you threw away the very thing that could have saved you. But here's the best part. You don't even need revenge. No. You won the moment you walked away. Let them sit in their regret. Let them taste the emptiness. Let them ache for what they lost. You've moved on, and they're just another chapter in a book you'll never read again. Silence. Oh, how it unsettles them. They expected a fight, a scream, a desperate plea. They wanted you to break, to beg, to lash out, to give them one last taste of your energy, but you gave them nothing, just an empty space where your presence used to be, and that is power. You don't need to scream, you don't need to cry, you don't need to prove a damn thing. You vanish. You let them sit in the ruins of what they built. Let them stare at the mess they made. Let them feel the weight of their own choices pressing down on their fragile little egos. They thought they owned you, thought they could pull your strings, press your buttons, control your emotions, but the moment you walked away without a word, they lost. Because silence is terrifying. It forces them to listen to the one voice they can't escape, their own guilt. They'll tell themselves stories, try to rewrite history. They'll come back, they whisper, they need me. But the longer the silence stretches, the colder reality sets in. You're gone, and they're left with only memories and mistakes. And oh, how that eats them alive. The best revenge? It's not anger, not chaos, not some grand act of destruction. It's indifference. It's thriving without them, laughing without them, becoming something unstoppable in their absence. Because the moment you stop needing their validation, you win. Closure? Forget closure. What do you need it for? They made their choices. They played their games. And now they get to live with the consequences. Let them wonder. Let them ache. Let them stare at their reflection and realize they were the villain all along. And you just walk away. No goodbyes, no explanations, just a shadow in the distance, slipping through their fingers like smoke. And now it's your turn. No more waiting. No more hoping for things to change. No more bending to their whims, their moods, their little games. They wanted control, but now you set the rules. You decide who gets access, who gets a seat at your table, and who gets nothing. They thought they had you trapped, thought they could push, pull, manipulate, and discard you like a puppet on a string. But oh, how the tables turn. Now it's you standing tall, you making the choices, you deciding who stays and who fades into the background like the irrelevant noise they always were. See, power isn't about screaming the loudest or forcing people to bow. Real power, the kind they fear, is quiet. It's in your restraint, in your refusal, in the way you look at them with that knowing smirk and say, no, you don't get a second chance. They'll come crawling, they always do, spinning excuses, rewriting history, pretending they didn't do what they know they did. But the beauty of it, you don't owe them anything. No explanations, no closure, no open doors, just a cold, amused gaze that says, should have thought of that sooner. Because now you call the shots, and them, they're just another name on the long, long list of people who should have treated you better. Let them sit with that. Let them marinate in their regret. Let them taste what it's like to be on the outside looking in, knowing they can never, ever come back. This is your era, your game, your world. No more begging to be seen, to be heard, to be chosen. You choose. You build. You rise. And the ones who didn't see your worth, they can watch from the sidelines as you become unstoppable. So let them regret. Let them whisper. Let them wonder how they ever let you slip through their fingers. But never let them back in. Not now. Not ever. Because you You're too powerful to play small again. You stayed silent. You watched. You let them think they won. Oh, how they laughed, how they strutted around like kings and queens of their little pathetic kingdom. They thought they had broken you, buried you, erased you, but what they never realized, what they never saw coming, was that you weren't defeated. No, 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 you were evolving. See, the greatest trick the underestimated ever pulled was letting the fools believe they were powerless, letting them gloat, letting them dance in their own arrogance. And now they sit in the wreckage of their own delusions, looking around, scrambling, desperate to undo what they did. But it's too late. Regret. Oh, it's a funny little thing, isn't it? It sneaks up on them when they least expect it, in the quiet moments, in the spaces where you used to be. Their games, not so fun anymore. Their victories, hollow. And that empty feeling clawing at their insides, that's the ghost of every chance they threw away. They'll reach out, of course they will. A text, a call, a forced smile when they see you thriving. Because that's what burns them the most. It's not that you left, it's that you never looked back. That you moved on, grew stronger, and never let them be part of your story again. And that is the ultimate revenge. Not screaming, not begging for an apology that will never come, not proving your worth to people who never deserved you. No. The real revenge is success. It's indifference. It's that slow, wicked grin as you walk past them, untouchable, unstoppable, unbothered. Let them drown in their own regret. Let them whisper about you in hushed, desperate voices. Let them stare as you laugh in the shadows, a ghost they can never escape. Because the joke's on them now, and you're too far ahead to ever care again. So go, keep rising, keep winning. Let them sit with the weight of their own mistakes, haunted by the one question that will echo in their minds forever. What have I done? Ah, welcome back, you beautiful paradoxes, you walking contradictions, you smiling catastrophes wrapped in kindness. They thought they knew fear, didn't they? They thought monsters had fangs and shadows had claws. That danger announced itself with roars and threats and darkness. But then they met you, and everything they believed about terror, about power, about what it means to be truly unstoppable, it all shattered like glass under your gentle footsteps, didn't it? See, they were prepared for the demons. They had protocols for anger, strategies for rage, contingency plans for violence and chaos and screaming fury. They knew how to handle the beast. They knew how to cage the wolf. They knew how to fight fire with fire and darkness with light. But you, oh you walked in smiling. You walked in with that soft voice, those kind eyes, that warm presence that felt like safety, like home, like everything good in this world. And that's exactly what made you the most dangerous thing they'd ever encountered. Because here's what they never understood, what they couldn't process, what still keeps them awake at 3 a.m. trying to decode the equation of you. The scariest person in any room isn't the one who's angry, it's the one who's calm. It's not the one screaming threats, it's the one speaking softly, while their eyes promise absolute destruction. It's not the demon who roars. It's the angel who smiles and means every single consequence that smile carries like a loaded weapon wrapped in grace. They thought your kindness was weakness, didn't they? Oh, how wrong they were. They mistook your gentleness for fragility, your compassion for naivety, your forgiveness for ignorance. They saw your smile and thought, easy target, saw your patience and thought, pushover, saw your light and thought they could eclipse it with their petty darkness. And then, they pushed too far. They crossed that invisible line. They mistook your mercy for permission. And that's when they learned the difference between an angel and a fool. You didn't raise your voice, did you? You didn't make threats or promises of revenge or dramatic declarations of war. No. You did something far more terrifying. You kept that same gentle energy, that same soft demeanor, that same peaceful presence, while you systematically, precisely, beautifully dismantled everything they built. You became the storm that apologizes while it destroys, the flood that says, "Excuse me," while it washes away foundations, the earthquake that smiles sweetly while it levels entire kingdoms. And that's what broke them. Not your anger, your composure. Not your threats, your silence. Not your darkness. Your light wielded like a blade so sharp they didn't even feel the cut until they saw their own blood. Because you taught them something their nightmares never could. That the most brutal vengeance doesn't come from hate. It comes from someone who loved you, trusted you, gave you chances, and then decided, with absolute peace in their heart, that you no longer deserve access to their world. They're still trying to process it, still trying to understand how someone so kind could be so ruthless, how someone so gentle could be so devastating, how someone who speaks with such softness could deliver blows that echo in their bones for years. They keep replaying the moment, that exact moment when they realized, oh no, we weren't dealing with prey, we were dealing with a predator who chose peace, who chose mercy, who chose kindness, until we made them choose differently. Let me tell you what they see now when they look at you. They see that smile, that same beautiful, warm, genuine smile, and they freeze, because now they know, now they understand. That smile isn't just kindness. It's a warning. It's a choice you're making in real time to let them breathe another day. It's the visible reminder that you could destroy them with the same grace you once showed them love. And the only thing stopping you is your decision to let them live with the consequences of underestimating an angel. You know what's really happening here, beneath all the confusion, beneath all their attempts to understand, beneath all the whispered conversations where they try to explain you to others who've never experienced this particular brand of beautiful destruction. They're realizing something fundamental about power, about strength, about what it truly means to be dangerous in this world. They're learning that anyone can be mean, anyone can be cruel, anyone can lash out and scream and throw tantrums and make threats that evaporate in daylight. But to stay kind while you dismantle them, to keep your heart soft while your strategy cuts like surgical steel, to maintain your light while you show them exactly what happens when angels stop offering mercy, that's not just power, that's mastery, that's evolution. That's the kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself, doesn't need to flex, doesn't need to prove anything because its very existence is proof enough. You've become the answer to a question they never thought to ask. They studied demons their whole lives. They learned how to fight aggression with aggression, how to meet darkness with darkness, how to battle monsters with monstrous tactics. But nobody taught them what to do when the light stops forgiving. Nobody prepared them for the angel who decides that grace has an expiration date. Nobody warned them that the kindest souls when finally pushed past their limit, don't become demons. They become something far more terrifying. They become angels with a purpose, with clarity, with nothing left to lose and everything to reclaim. And here's the beautiful, poetic, absolutely devastating irony of it all. You didn't change. That's what's driving them insane. You're still you. Still that same gentle soul. Still that same kind heart. Still that same person who would give the world to someone who deserved it. The only thing that changed was their access. You didn't become cruel. You became selective. You didn't become cold. You became conscious. You didn't lose your warmth. You just stopped wasting it on people who used it as a weapon against you. So now they're left staring at this impossible equation, this paradox they can't solve, this mystery that keeps them up at night scrolling through old messages, old photos, old memories, trying to find the exact moment they lost you. And the answer is so simple, so obvious, yet somehow they still can't grasp it. They lost you the moment they assumed your kindness was infinite. They lost you the second they mistook your patience for permission to push further. They lost you when they forgot that angels don't fall. They choose to descend, and when they do, when they finally do, the impact levels everything. You want to know what real power looks like? It looks like you, right now, in this exact moment. It's not the person screaming in the room. It's the person everyone's afraid to make eye contact with because they know, they absolutely know, that beneath that calm exterior is someone who's already calculated 17 different ways to end their entire existence and chosen, mercifully, not to execute even one. It's the person who says, "It's okay," with a smile that makes grown adults question every decision they've ever made. They thought they were dealing with a victim, a target, someone whose kindness they could exploit indefinitely without consequence. And maybe for a while, they were right. Maybe you did give too much, forgive too easily, offer too many second chances to people who never deserved the first. But every angel has a limit. Every light has a switch. And when you finally reached yours, when you finally decided that your peace was worth more than their presence, something shifted in the entire universe around them. Because here's what they're discovering now, in real time. With every passing day that you remain unmoved by their attempts to reconcile, unbothered by their desperate messages, unimpressed by their performative apologies, they're discovering that losing access to a truly kind person, losing the trust of someone who actually gave you their real heart, losing the presence of an angel who chose to include you in their light. That's a punishment worse than any revenge they could imagine. You don't need to do anything to them. Your absence is the consequence. Your indifference is the penalty. Your moved-on energy is the sentence they'll serve for the rest of their lives. And they're feeling it now. They're feeling the weight of what they lost, the gravity of what they destroyed, the irreversible nature of burning a bridge made of pure intention and genuine care. They're scrolling through photos where you're smiling at them with actual love in your eyes, and they're realizing, with a sickness in their stomach that won't go away, that they'll never see that look again, not directed at them, not ever, because you've given that smile to others now, that warmth, that energy, that beautiful, healing, transformative presence that they took for granted. Let's talk about what happens next. Shall we? Because this is where it gets really, really interesting. See, they're going to try to come back. Oh yes, they're already planning it. They're crafting the perfect apology, the ideal explanation, the most compelling argument for why you should give them another chance. They're going to show up with tears, with gifts, with promises of change and growth and becoming better. And do you know what you're going to do? You're going to smile. That same gentle, kind, understanding smile. And you're going to say no. Not with anger, not with bitterness, not with any of the drama they're secretly hoping for, because at least drama would mean you still feel something, anything toward them. No, you're going to decline with the same grace you showed them when you cared, except now that grace is wrapped around a core of absolute certainty. You're going to be kind in your rejection, polite in your refusal, gentle in your goodbye. And that right there, that's going to destroy them more thoroughly than any curse or confrontation ever could. Because what they're learning, what they're being forced to confront in the mirror of your moved on energy, is that they didn't just lose you. They lost the version of themselves that existed in your eyes. They lost the person they could have become if they'd valued what you offered. They lost the timeline where your kindness helped them grow instead of making them comfortable in their smallness. And there's no going back. There's no reset button. There's no cheat code to regain the trust of an angel who's decided you're not worth the energy it takes to forgive again. You've become the standard now, the marker by which they'll measure every future connection. Every new person they meet will be unconsciously compared to you, to your patience, to your understanding, to your capacity for genuine care, and they'll all fall short. Because you can't replicate authenticity. You can't fake the kind of energy you brought into their lives. You can't manufacture the specific light you carried. They had the real thing, and they treated it like a commodity, like something that would always be there, like a resource they could drain without replenishment. And here's the part that's really eating them alive, the thing they can't escape no matter how hard they try. They know with absolute certainty that you're thriving now. They see it. They see you in your element, unburdened by their energy, unchained from their drama, free from the weight of trying to make them understand basic concepts like respect and reciprocity. They see you glowing brighter without them, laughing louder, moving faster, being more yourself than you ever could be while you were dimming your light to make their darkness feel less lonely. You're the proof that walked away. You're the evidence that their version of love was actually a cage. You're the living, breathing, thriving testimony that losing them wasn't a loss at all. It was a liberation, and they can see it. They can see the before and after in your eyes, in your energy, in the way you move through the world, now like you own every room you enter, because you finally remembered that you do. You always did. You just forgot for a while, when you were too busy trying to make them feel worthy of standing next to you. So they thought demons were scary, with their obvious threats and visible horns and dramatic declarations of destruction. They thought darkness was the ultimate power, the final form of intimidation. They spent their lives learning to navigate conflict, to handle aggression, to deal with people who wore their danger on their sleeves. And then you walked into their existence. All soft smiles and gentle words and genuine kindness. And they thought easy, they thought safe, they thought controllable. Until you taught them the lesson their ego will never recover from. Because the scariest thing in this world isn't the person who threatens you. It's the person who calmly, peacefully, with absolute serenity in their soul, removes you from their life like you never existed at all. It's not the demon who roars. It's the angel who stops speaking your name. It's not the monster in the dark. It's the light that decides you're not worth illuminating anymore. That's the power move they never saw coming. The checkmate they're still trying to process. The ending they can't rewrite, no matter how many mental scenarios they create. You know what you've done here, don't you? You've redefined fear itself. You've shown them that terror doesn't always announce itself with violence. Sometimes it arrives in the form of someone who loved you deciding, with crystal clarity and unshakable resolve, that they're done. Sometimes the scariest moment isn't when someone attacks you. It's when someone who could destroy you with a word, a look, a single revelation of truth, chooses instead to simply forget you existed, to move on so completely, so thoroughly, so absolutely that your entire shared history becomes nothing more than a lesson they learned on their way to something better. They're watching you now from a distance, and every update, every post, every glimpse they catch of your life is a reminder of what they fumbled. They see you succeeding, see you happy, see you surrounded by people who actually value what you bring to the table. And it's killing them softly, slowly, permanently, because they're realizing that you weren't the problem, they were. You weren't too much, they were too little. You weren't difficult to love. They were incapable of receiving real love without destroying it, like children smashing toys they don't understand the value of. And here's the thing that's really breaking them down. The realization that hits them at 2 in the morning when they can't sleep because their conscience has finally woken up. You didn't need to get revenge. You didn't need to plot or scheme or dedicate energy to making them suffer. All you had to do was become unavailable. All you had to do was take back your time, your attention, your care, your presence. All you had to do was stop being their emotional support, their validation source, their constant forgiver. You just had to step back and let them experience life without you. And that absence, that void where your light used to be, it's the most brutal consequence you could have designed. Because now they're forced to face themselves without your kindness to soften the edges. Now they have to deal with their own toxicity without your patience to dilute it. Now they're experiencing the world through their own energy instead of borrowing yours. And surprise, surprise, it's lonely and cold and harsh and exactly what they deserve. You didn't curse them, you just stopped blessing them. And that withdrawal, that removal of grace, it's more devastating than any active punishment could ever be. So when they ask themselves, what happened? When they replay the timeline trying to find where it all went wrong, the answer is so simple yet so impossible for them to accept. It went wrong the moment they assumed your angelic nature meant you had no boundaries. It collapsed the second they confused your forgiveness with permission to hurt you repeatedly. It ended when they took your kindness for granted one too many times, and you finally, mercifully, beautifully decided that their opinion of you was no longer your problem to manage. You've become the myth they tell themselves to explain why they're still single, still struggling, still unable to find something real. They've turned you into a legend in their own mind, this impossibly perfect person they let slip away. When the truth is, you weren't perfect at all. You were just real. You were just genuine. You were just someone who actually meant it when you cared. And they couldn't handle that level of authenticity because it required them to be authentic back, and they didn't have it in them. They were still playing games while you were building something real. And now they get to watch from the outside as you build that something real with people who actually deserve it. Now they get to see what you look like when you're with someone who matches your energy instead of draining it. Now they get to witness the version of you that could have been theirs if they just just done the bare minimum of not being terrible, and that haunts them, that follows them, that whispers to them every time they try to move on. You had that once, and you destroyed it, and you'll never get it back. Because here's the final truth they're being forced to swallow. The ultimate realization that's reshaping their entire understanding of relationships and power, and what it means to lose someone who actually mattered. Demons are scary. Sure, demons can hurt you, haunt you, make your life difficult for a season, but demons are also obvious. Demons show their hand. Demons give you something to fight against, something to blame, something external to point to and say, that's the enemy. But an angel with nothing to lose, an angel who's decided that their peace is non-negotiable, their boundaries are unbreakable, their energy is reserved for people who've earned it, an angel who smiles at you with genuine kindness while removing every single access point you ever had to their world. That's not something you fight. That's not something you defeat. That's not even something you fully comprehend until it's already happened and you're standing in the aftermath wondering what the hell just hit you. You hit them. You, with your gentle words and firm boundaries. You, with your kind heart and unshakable standards. You, with your angelic smile and demonic results. You walked into their chaos with light, and they tried to dim you, tried to own you, tried to break you down into something manageable and controllable and small. And instead you just outgrew them so completely that by the time they realized what was happening, you were already gone, already healed, already thriving, already so far beyond them that their apologies can't even reach you anymore. So let them talk, let them wonder, let them spend the rest of their lives trying to explain to others what it was about you that they still can't shake. Let them describe your smile to new partners who'll never quite measure up. Let them reference your patience to friends who'll never fully understand what they lost. Let them carry the ghost of you into every future relationship, every new beginning, every attempt to find something that feels half as real as what they had with you. Because you're not thinking about them anymore, are you? You think karma takes its time? No. Sometimes it walks in wearing your face. It doesn't come with thunderous warnings or divine justice. It doesn't wait for some cosmic balance. No. It's flesh and bone. It's breath and pulse. It's you. The very thing they underestimated. The very ghost they tried to bury. They thought they could use you, play with you like a puppet, break you and throw the pieces away, but what they didn't realize is that you weren't just another stepping stone. You weren't a casualty in their game. You were the consequence itself. The storm they never saw brewing, the fire they ignited, only to watch it turn into an inferno beyond their control. Karma doesn't always strike like lightning. Sometimes it's slow, calculated, watching, waiting. Sometimes it sits in the same room as its victims, wearing a grin, sipping coffee, exchanging pleasantries. They never even realize, until it's too late, until the tables turn so violently that they forget which side they were on to begin with. Now they know, now they see it. The weight of every betrayal, every lie, every twisted scheme has come back, but not as fate, not as some invisible force. No, it came back as you, and this time, there's no escape. They thought they were in control, thought they were the puppeteers, pulling strings, laughing in the shadows, watching you struggle. But here's the irony. Every move they made, every knife they plunged into your back, every time they whispered your name with doubt, they weren't playing the game. They were setting the stage for their own downfall. People like them, so drunk on their own arrogance, never see the trap they set for themselves. They throw dirt, thinking you'll choke on it. They laugh, thinking you'll break under the weight of their words. But the whole time, they were digging their own graves, writing their own horror story, and guess what? You're the final chapter. Every insult, every betrayal, every time they called you weak, it wasn't your suffering, it was their prophecy. They didn't destroy you, they built you, shaped you, hardened you into something unbreakable. Something relentless, something they can't face without trembling. Now, their worst nightmare isn't karma, it's you. Because now the power has shifted, and they know it. You don't have to lift a finger. They can already feel the weight of what they've done. Their guilt eats them alive. Their fear keeps them awake. The same mouth that once spoke against you now stutters when your name is mentioned. Poetic. They wanted to see you lose, but now they'd give anything just to be forgotten. But that's the thing about karma. It doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive, and neither do you. You weren't always like this. There was a time when your heart was softer, your trust was easy, your kindness wasn't mistaken for weakness. You believed in people, gave them chances, thought if you did good, good would come back. Foolish, wasn't it? Because the world doesn't reward kindness, it exploits it. They took your patience as permission, your silence as surrender, your loyalty as a leash they could pull whenever they pleased. They drained you, broke you, fed on your gentleness like parasites, and then they left you in the dark, thinking you'd rot there. But darkness doesn't destroy everyone. Some of us become it. Pain is a teacher no school could ever match. It doesn't lecture, it scars. It carves lessons into your bones, brands truths into your soul. And you learned. Oh, did you learn? You learned that mercy is a currency the weak can't afford, that some people don't understand respect until they fear you. So you let the fire consume the old you, the naive you, the one who waited for fairness, for apologies, for things to make sense. That version of you, dead, buried beneath every betrayal, every sleepless night, every moment you wished you could scream but didn't. What rose from that grave is something else entirely. Now, you move differently, speak differently. You don't beg, don't explain, don't chase. You don't need to. They feel your presence before you enter the room. The same people who once underestimated you now watch you from the sidelines, hoping, praying. They never become your next lesson. And that is the sweetest revenge of all. No violence, no warnings, just a new you, cold, calculated, unstoppable. They thought they broke you, but all they did was set you free. They used to laugh. Oh, how they laughed, sat in their little circles, grinning, joking, throwing your name around like it was some cheap punchline. They thought you were weak, thought you were beneath them, thought you'd stay down forever. But funny how things change. Now, their laughter has dried up. Their smirks have faded. Their voices tremble when they mention you, if they even dare to say your name at all. They don't mock you anymore. They fear you. Not because you lifted a finger, not because you sought revenge, but because they see it now. They feel it, the shift, the power reversal. You walk into a room and their bodies tense. Their eyes flicker with recognition, but it's not the same. It's not amusement, it's unease, because they don't recognize what they created. The monster they forged in their own fire. The force they thought they could control. But now, it's beyond them. There's nothing more terrifying than realizing you underestimated the wrong person. That the one you kicked when they were down is now the one standing above you looking down. And the worst part? You're not even angry anymore. You don't seek their validation. You don't even acknowledge their existence. And that's what kills them. The fact that they don't matter anymore. The fact that they could disappear tomorrow and it wouldn't change a damn thing in your world. They thought they'd haunt you forever, but the truth? It's them who are haunted now. Haunted by their own mistakes, by their own cruelty. They used to laugh. Now, they stay quiet. Afraid. Ashamed. And rightfully so. Because they finally understand that some people don't break, they evolve. You don't need to attack. You don't need to fight. You don't need to lift a damn finger. Because the greatest revenge isn't chaos, isn't blood, isn't destruction. It's silence. A silence so loud it drowns out their laughter, crushes their ego, and forces them to choke on their own regrets. Your existence is their punishment. Every breath you take, every move you make, every victory you claim, it burns them, it eats them alive. Because they wanted you broken, they wanted you forgotten, and yet here you are, rising, thriving, becoming something so far beyond them that their past actions feel like a joke. Your success is a mirror, a cruel, unforgiving reflection that forces them to see exactly what they lost. They have to watch you climb higher while they stay stuck in the same miserable cycle. You were supposed to stay down. You were supposed to beg. But instead, you became untouchable. And that is their nightmare. To know that they can't reach you, can't affect you, can't even scratch the surface of what you've built. They can talk, they can whisper, they can scream your name into the void, but it won't change a thing. You're already gone, far beyond their reach. Revenge isn't about proving them wrong. It isn't about rubbing their faces in the dirt. It's about making them irrelevant, making them sit in their own failure, realizing that their attempts to destroy you only forged something unstoppable. They aren't villains in your story anymore. They aren't even characters. You don't need to hurt them. Life will do that for you. Their own minds will torture them. Their jealousy, their regret, their shame. It will consume them piece by piece, year after year, until they finally understand the weight of what they did, and by then, it'll be far too late. People like them, they don't change. They don't wake up one day, struck by guilt, suddenly wishing they'd done better. No, they don't regret their actions. They regret the consequences. They regret that you didn't stay broken, that you didn't beg, didn't chase, didn't give them the satisfaction of watching you suffer. Their apologies? Empty. A few words strung together like cheap bandages over wounds they caused. Not because they're sorry, but because they see you rising. And now they're afraid. Afraid that you no longer care. Afraid that they've lost control. Afraid that they made a mistake underestimating you. They don't feel sorry for what they did. They feel sorry they couldn't destroy you. That's the truth. If they had succeeded, if you had crumbled, if you had drowned in your pain, they wouldn't have lost a second of sleep. But you didn't. You rose from the fire, sharper, colder, stronger than ever. And now, they can't handle it. But here's the part that really breaks them. You don't need their guilt. You don't need their regret. You don't even need their damn acknowledgement, because their apology won't change a thing. It won't undo the nights you spent in agony. It won't erase the scars they left. It won't bring back the person you used to be. You need their silence. That's it. No forced remorse, no crocodile tears, just silence. Because they've already said enough, done enough, and now they have to live with the weight of their own actions. That's their burden, not yours. You walked away from the fire, they have to sit in the ashes. You were the quiet one, the one they mocked, dismissed, overlooked, the one they thought was too soft, too weak, too insignificant to ever be a threat. They laughed in your face, rolled their eyes when you spoke, tossed you aside like you were nothing. And you let them. Oh, you let them, because back then you weren't interested in proving them wrong. But something changed, didn't it? The world pushed too hard. The betrayals cut too deep. The pain knocked on your door one too many times, and in that silence, in that loneliness, in that darkness, something inside you woke up. Not anger, not revenge. Something far worse. A hunger, a power, a realization that you didn't need anyone, that you were enough. Now, you carry an energy they can't match, a presence that makes them uncomfortable. They don't understand it. How the person they once dismissed now walks with a confidence they can't shake. How the same one they used to mock now owns every room they enter. How the same name they once laughed at now sends chills down their spine. You didn't change. You evolved. You sharpened every wound into a weapon. You turned every scar into armor. They thought they were breaking you, but all they did was forge something unstoppable. And now they look at you with wide eyes, whispering among themselves, wondering how the hell they didn't see this coming. Because the truth, they never saw you at your full power. They saw the version of you that tolerated their nonsense, the version of you that still cared, still hoped, still waited for them to treat you right. But that version, dead, gone, buried, and in its place, a force they can't control, a presence they can't ignore, a power they can't even stand next to. They used to underestimate you. Now they can't even look you in the eyes, because deep down they know they created this. They shaped you into something untouchable. And the worst part, they'll never get close enough to break you again. Once they wanted to be close to you, not out of love, not out of respect, but because you were easy to control, easy to manipulate. You were the one who always gave too much, forgave too easily, and stayed longer than you should have. They fed on that. They used your kindness as a leash, your loyalty as a weapon, and you let them. Because back then, you didn't see them for what they really were. But now, oh, now things have changed. The same ones who once clung to you so tightly now pray for distance. They don't want to be near you anymore, not because they don't need you, but because they fear what you've become. They used to smile in your face, comfortable in the idea that you would always be their fool. Now, they avoid your eyes like a curse, afraid of what they might see staring back. They used to call you weak. Now they call you dangerous. Not because you're violent, not because you seek revenge, but because you're untouchable. Because you no longer react. Because they know deep down if they tried the same tricks, it would end very differently this time. You're not the same person they toyed with. You're not someone they can control, and that terrifies them. You see, they never thought the day would come when you'd walk away. But worse than that, they never thought the day would come when you'd outgrow them. When you'd rise so high that they would become nothing more than a distant memory, a faded chapter in a book you don't even bother rereading. Now, they whisper your name, but never to your face. Now, they tell stories about you like an urban legend, warning others about what happens when you push the wrong person too far. They fear the moment you might turn your head, notice them, and remind them why they should have never underestimated you. Because they know you didn't forget. You just don't care enough to look back. And that's what haunts them the most. The real punishment, it's not revenge, it's not anger, it's not even hatred. It's something far worse. It's the fact that they can never escape you. No matter how far they run, no matter how much time passes, your presence will always linger like a shadow behind them, whispering in their ear, reminding them of what they lost. They thought they could erase you, thought they could move on like you never existed. But every time they hear your name, every time they see you rise, every time they catch a glimpse of what you've become, it stings, it burns, it twists their stomach in knots. Because deep down, they know they had a front row seat to greatness, and they ruined it. You don't have to haunt them. Your success does that for you. Every milestone you hit, every achievement you claim, every time you step forward while they stay stuck in the same miserable cycle, it's another knife to the gut. They don't get to forget. They don't get to move on, because your existence is a permanent scar they can never heal from. You see, most people get to bury their mistakes, but you are the mistake they have to live with. The one they can't explain away, the one they can't undo, the one they'll see in every person who refuses to be used, in every success story they wish was theirs, in every powerful presence that reminds them of what they once had in their grasp but let slip away. They will try to convince themselves that you were never that important, that losing you wasn't a big deal. But late at night, when their mind is quiet, your name echoes in their thoughts like a curse. Because deep down, they know the truth. You were the best thing they never deserved. And now, they get to spend the rest of their lives realizing exactly what they lost. Your legacy? It's not just in your success. It's in their regrets. It's in the way they flinch when your name comes up, in the way they avoid places where you might be, in the way they force a smile when someone asks about you, because the truth is too bitter to swallow. You didn't just walk away. You became the lesson they will never escape. You thought I was your victim, but I was your reckoning. You thought you were riding my downfall, playing God with my fate, laughing while I suffered. But what you never realized was that every scar you left, every wound you opened, was carving something greater. You weren't breaking me. You were forging me. And now you live in the ruins of what you built. You wanted to see me weak. Now you can't even look me in the eyes. You wanted me to beg, to crawl, to need you, but the joke's on you, because now I walk alone, and it's you who's left in the dust. Every move I make, every step forward, every moment I rise, you feel it, don't you? That sting in your chest, that regret crawling up your spine, that sinking realization that I never needed you. But you will never stop needing me. You don't get closure. You don't get peace. You don't get to turn the page and pretend none of this ever happened, because I became something you never saw coming. I became the force you never could control. And the worst part? You created this. You built this monster with your own hands. Now, you get to live with the consequence. This isn't just my story. This is yours too. Because everyone who ever doubted me, used me, tried to break me, now they sit in silence, watching as I become everything they swore I never would. Watching as I move in a world where they no longer matter. Watching as their worst fear comes to life. Me, untouchable. Me, without them. So to anyone listening, hear this and let it sink in. You are not just a survivor. You are not just someone who made it through the fire. You are the fire. You are the reckoning people will one day fear. You are the silent storm, the lesson they never saw coming, the karma they will never outrun. So don't seek revenge. You don't need it. Don't waste your breath on apologies, on explanations, on proving anything. Just walk. Walk in silence. Walk in power. Let them learn the hard way, because the real punishment is watching you win.